Hello guys, in this video we are going to start with a new chapter, electrochemistry. Electrochemistry is the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of the chemical changes which occur on passing electric current into certain chemical systems or generation of electricity by carrying out certain chemical reactions. So to be more precise, electrochemistry correlates the electrical energy and the chemical reactions which are redox reactions in nature. So electrochemistry deals with redox reactions, the energy that can be generated from redox reactions or the electrical energy that is needed to carry out a redox reaction. So when we say redox reactions, the containers or vessels where these changes are carried out. What changes? Converting electrical energy into chemical energy or chemical energy into electrical energy. So the containers or vessels in which these changes are carried out are known as cells. So in this lesson, we are going to learn about these changes in energy and also about cells. So before we move into the main topic, let's recall redox reactions which we learned in grade 11. So before talking about redox reactions, let's recall oxidation and reduction. So when we say oxidation, here we mean loss of electrons. When a species loses electrons, then we can say that species has undergone oxidation. So when this happens, which means when there is loss of electrons, the oxidation state will increase. Suppose for example, if the oxidation state goes from +2 to +3, then that species has undergone oxidation. Same way, when we say reduction, we mean gain of electrons. When the species gains electrons, then we call that as reduction, and there will be decrease in the oxidation state. So we have other definitions also. You would have studied about gain of oxygen is oxidation and gain of hydrogen is reduction. So here in this lesson we will be dealing only with the electrons in terms of electrons. So we are defining oxidation and reduction in terms of electrons. So what is oxidation again? Loss of electrons, and reduction, gain of electrons. So let's see an example. Look here, it is zinc which is in solid state. When the zinc is in solid state, then the oxidation number is 0. So the zinc is losing 2 electrons to form what? Zaten 2 plus. So that Zaten 2 plus, the oxidation state has increased from 0 to +2. So zinc has undergone oxidation. Now look at this example, Cu2 plus 2 electrons. It is taking 2 electrons and the oxidation states become 0. So +2 here is becoming 0 oxidation state. So copper ion has undergone reduction. So when there is losing of electrons, then that is oxidation. When there is gain of electrons, then that is reduction. And I want to make one thing clear here. Here I have written zinc, here also I have written zinc, here I have written in bracket solid, here it is aqueous. So remember, when it is in solid state, we are talking about a piece of zinc metal. When you take a zinc metal, then we say it is Zaten solid. When we say Zaten 2 plus, which means it is in aqueous state. When you take zinc sulfate solution, in that solution what you will have zinc ions and sulfate ions. So zinc is represented as Zaten 2 plus and sulfate ion is represented as SO4 2 minus. So this is zinc metal where the oxidation state is 0. This is zinc in zinc sulfate solution, for example. So the oxidation state in aqueous state is Zaten 2 plus. Same way, when you talk about copper, when you take a piece of copper metal, then it is Cu whose oxidation state is 0. When you take copper sulfate solution, in that copper is in the oxidation state Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus. So please understand, Zaten and Zaten 2 plus are different. Cu2 plus and Cu are different. When you talk about ions with these oxidation states, we are talking about the ions in solution. When you say Zaten 2 plus, you are talking about zinc sulfate solution in which zinc is present in Zaten 2 plus oxidation state. So now you're clear with oxidation and reduction. Now let's define oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Please be very clear with these terms. Oxidation and reduction are different from oxidizing agent and reducing agent. See, when we say oxidizing agent, it is the species which oxidizes other species. If you're taking a compound, if that compound or metal or metal ion is oxidizing other species, then that is called as oxidizing agent, which means the oxidizing agent is removing electron from the species which is undergoing oxidation. So oxidizing agent oxidizes the other species, which means it removes electron from that species. When the oxidizing agent removes electron from that species, which means the oxidizing agent is taking that electron, which means it is accepting electron or gaining electron. In that process, the oxidizing agent itself is getting reduced. So the oxidizing agent removes the electron from the species which is undergoing oxidation, and this oxidizing agent itself is undergoing reduction because it is accepting the electron which is removed from the oxidizing species. So reducing agent is the one which reduces the other species, which means the reducing agent is giving electrons to the other species. So in that process, the reducing agent itself, it is losing its electron, so itself gets oxidized, which means it is losing electron. So oxidizing agent is the one which oxidizes the other species and itself will get reduced. Reducing agent will reduce the other species and itself will get oxidized. So please be clear with the terms. Now see, oxidizing agent, species that gains electron. Reducing agent, species that lose electron. But what is oxidation? The process of losing electron is oxidation. Don't get confused with oxidation and oxidizing agent. Oxidation, it is the process in which electron is lost. Oxidizing agent is the species which gains the electron. Same way, reduction, it is the process of gaining electron. And what is reducing agent? It is the species that loses electron. So you can say a species which has more tendency to gain electron can act as an oxidizing agent, and a species which has more tendency to lose electron can act as a reducing agent. And one more point, oxidizing agent will itself undergo reduction, reducing agent itself will undergo oxidation. But in the process, it will oxidize the other species, and reducing agent will reduce the other species. Now let's move on to redox reactions. So just now we have seen about oxidation and reduction, and we have seen examples also. If in a reaction both oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously, then we call that reaction as redox reaction. Redox, which means red stands for reduction, ox stands for oxidation. So in a redox reaction, both oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously. Now look at this example. I'm taking Zutton solid plus copper sulfate solution. What will happen? Zinc will change into Zutton SO4, and CuSO4 is forming copper solid. Now see, zinc is changed into Zutton SO4. Here the oxidation state of zinc is 0. Here it is Zutton 2 plus. So there is what? Loss of 2 electrons. So zinc has undergone oxidation. Look here, copper sulfate. Here the oxidation state of copper is Cu2 plus, and here it is 0. So from 2 plus it has changed into 0, which means it has taken 2 electrons. So 2 plus 2 minus will be 0. So there will be gain of electrons. So this is nothing but reduction. So zinc has undergone oxidation and Cu2 plus has undergone reduction. So both oxidation and reduction are taking place in this reaction, and we call this as redox reaction. Here you can write this entire reaction in two half reactions. One is oxidation half reaction, the other one is reduction half reaction. So Zutton to Zutton SO4, it is what? Oxidation half reaction. So usually we write it in the ionic form. So Zutton solid gives Zutton 2 plus aqueous plus 2 electron. This zinc has lost 2 electrons, so we are writing this electron on the product side. Next one is reduction half reaction. So Cu2 plus aqueous, it's gaining 2 electrons, plus 2 electrons gives Cu solid. So the copper ion is taking the electron lost by zinc, and this copper is changing into copper solid. So this is the example of redox reaction. You would have studied this example in grade 11 when you studied about redox reaction. When you take a piece of zinc metal and dip it in copper sulfate solution and leave it for some time, what will happen? The zinc piece of zinc that you have kept inside copper sulfate solution would have lost some of its electrode, which means it has lost weight, and copper sulfate, which was blue in color, now it has lost its color. What is the reason? So look at this, you're taking a beaker, taking copper sulfate solution and dipping a zinc rod in that. Copper sulfate solution's color is blue in color. Who is responsible for that color? Cu2 plus ions. So when you leave this setup for some time and you come back and see it, what would have happened? Some of the zinc rod would have disappeared and the color of copper sulfate, the blue color, would have been faded away. So what happens actually, zinc has the capacity to lose electron. You need not give any external energy to make this happen. Zinc can automatically, spontaneously can lose electron. So this is what happens when you dip zinc rod and copper sulfate solution. Zinc will change into Zn 2 plus 2 electrons because it is losing electron. Now this copper sulfate, this is solution. Here copper is like Cu2 plus SO4 2 minus. This Cu2 plus will take this electron and will be changing into copper solid. And I told you the blue color of copper sulfate solution is due to Cu2 plus ions. Now this Cu2 plus ions is changed into Cu solids. That's the reason why the blue color fades away. That's why I told you to be very clear with the terms Cu2 plus and Cu, Zn and Zn 2 plus. Both are different. So this is what happens. So I told you zinc can spontaneously lose electrons. So this redox reaction is happening spontaneously. There are other redox reactions which cannot happen spontaneously. We call that reactions as non-spontaneous reaction. Now based on that, we have two types of cells. Let's see about that. So there are two types of redox reactions: spontaneous reaction, which you have seen just now, and there are non-spontaneous reactions, which we will be seeing later. So in this spontaneous reaction, the chemical energy is converted into electrical energy, because when the example that I showed you just now with zinc rod and copper sulfate solution, if you make this arrangement in a proper way, you can generate electricity from that. So actually a reaction is happening on its own. From that, electrical energy is produced. So in spontaneous reaction, redox reactions, chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. So when there is non-spontaneous reaction, which means it's not happening on its own, so what we are going to do, we are going to give electrical energy and make this reaction happen. So what happens here, electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. So this setup where chemical energy of a spontaneous redox reaction is converted into electrical energy is called as electrochemical cells. And this apparatus where a non-spontaneous reaction is made to happen by passing electrical energy and then it is converted into chemical energy is called as electrolytic cells. So there are two types of cells: electrochemical cells and electrolytic cells. So we are going to see one by one. So in today's video, we are going to see about electrochemical cells. Now let's see how to construct an electrochemical cell. This electrochemical cell was actually first prepared by two scientists, Galvani and Volta. That's why this cell is also called as galvanic cell or voltaic cell. So as I told you, in electrochemical cell, what energy is going to be converted? Electrical energy is going to be converted into chemical energy, because this redox reaction is spontaneous in nature. These cells are the ones which we use in calculators and watches, like button cells. So all these cells are examples of electrochemical cells. Even the inverters used to generate electricity on small scale is also partly electrochemical cells in nature, even car batteries. So let's see how to construct this electrochemical cell. So first take aqueous solutions of zinc sulfate and copper sulfate in 2 glass beakers. So this is zinc sulfate solution, this is copper sulfate solution, and both are having same molar concentration. Say they have 1 molar concentration, we are going to take in 2 beakers. Now place a zinc rod. This is a zinc rod in the zinc sulfate solution and a copper rod in the copper sulfate solution. So this is zinc rod in zinc sulfate solution, copper rod and copper sulfate solution. And these metal rods are called as electrodes. Now we are going to connect these two electrodes with the help of a copper wire through a voltmeter. So this is a voltmeter. You're going to connect these two electrodes through a copper wire. And these solutions are called as electrolytes. So we're going to connect these electrolytes through a salt bridge. This salt bridge is made up of a U-shaped glass tube, and it is filled with salt like KNO3 or KCl in agar-agar. The salt that we are taking, I told you as an example, KNO3 or KCl, they should not react with any of the electrolytes in the cells. They should have just ionic mobility. The reason of using salt bridge, it maintains the electrical neutrality of the electrolytes in the two half cells, which I will tell you at the end. Now you are connecting these two electrolytes with salt bridge. We will discuss the function of the salt bridge later. And now this is the setup. Now let's see what's going to happen. After setting up this electrochemical cell, you can observe one thing. The voltmeter deflection, this is the voltmeter. See, I put an arrow in this way. The voltmeter deflection is towards the left, which indicates the current flow towards the left. At the same time, the flow of electrons is in the opposite direction. Remember that when the flow of current is taken to be this side, then what is the flow of electrons direction? The opposite side. So this deflection in the voltmeter represents the current is flowing through this direction. So the electrons are flowing through this direction. Okay. Now the second observation, the zinc rod gradually loses weight while copper rod gains weight. See, here it is losing weight, here it is gaining weight. And then the concentration of Zn2+ ions in zinc sulfate solution increases while those of Cu2+ ions in copper sulfate solution decreases. Remember, we have taken zinc sulfate solution in this beaker and copper sulfate solution in this beaker, 1 molar concentration. So you have Zn2+ SO4 2- ions in this solution. Here Cu2+ ions and SO4 Cu2+ ions and SO4 2- ions in that beaker. So here what we are observing, the concentration of Zn2+ ions in solution is increasing while those of Cu2+ ions concentration here is decreasing. So these are the observation. Now let's explain why we are observing all these changes. The first thing, the beaker that we have placed here, which contains zinc sulfate solution, this along with the zinc rod is called as oxidation half cell, because what happens is the zinc in the electrode, which means in the rod, gets oxidized to Zn2+ because it has the tendency to get oxidized when compared to copper. So what will happen? Zinc will lose electrons and then they change into Zn2+ and get into the solution. So this zinc rod loses weight because what is happening? Zinc is changed into Zn2+ by losing electron, and that is the reason why we observe increase in concentration of Zn2+ ions in the solution. So the electron which was lost by this zinc migrates to this beaker, which we call as reduction half cell. In this cell, what do we have? We have copper sulfate solution where a copper rod is dipped. So the electrons which was lost by this zinc rod migrates to this half cell, and here what happens? The Cu2+ ions in the solution take up that electron and deposit as copper. Here Zn loses electron and gets into the solution as Zn2+. This copper ion in this beaker, Cu2+, takes up that electron and deposits as copper. So look at the reactions here. Zn loses electrons as Zn2+ plus 2 electron. These electrons are taken by Cu2+. See, Cu2+ plus 2 electrons gives Cu solid. So what happens? The Cu2+ ion concentration in the solution decreases because that Cu2+ is taking up the electron and depositing as copper on the copper electrode. So this zinc electrode is what is happening here? Oxidation is happening. See, zinc is changed into Zn2+ by losing electron. So here oxidation is happening, here reduction is happening. So we call this zinc electrode where oxidation takes place as anode, and this copper electrode where reduction takes place as cathode. So in an electrochemical cell, the anode is the negatively charged electrode because electrons are released here, and this cathode is positively charged electrode because it is accepting the electrons as it is electron deficient. So we represent it with a positive charge. So remember, in an electrochemical cell, anode is negatively charged, cathode is positively charged. When we are going to talk about the other type of cell, electrolytic cell, then the sign changes. So remember, when you're talking about electrochemical cell, anode is negatively charged and oxidation takes place at anode, cathode is positively charged and reduction takes place at cathode. So that's what I've written here. This is oxidation half cell and this is oxidation half reaction. This is reduction half cell and this is reduction half reaction. This is anode, this is cathode, and this is negatively charged electrode. This is positively charged electrode. And now I'm going to show you how to represent this cell. See, this is a big diagram that we are drawing and we are representing everything. You know, in chemistry, whenever we talk about chemical reaction, we don't write the entire reaction as paragraphs. We just represent that with a chemical equation, simple representation. Same way, you can represent this entire apparatus in a shortcut method, and that is called as cell representation. So now, cell representation, the rule is first anode should be represented and then cathode. See, anode and this double line represents the salt bridge, and then you have to represent cathode. Now let's just see what is the use of salt bridge. We just saw when a cell works, the electrons are released from the anode in the oxidation half cell. The positively charged Zn 2 plus ions will accumulate around the anode because this Zn is changed into Zn 2 plus electrons, 2 electrons, and that Zn 2 plus is getting accumulated near the anode. So what will happen? This will prevent the outflow of electrons from the anode. It's going to stop the flow of electron from the anode. Similarly, in the reduction half cell, as the Cu2 plus ions are reduced to Cu, the corresponding SO4 2 minus ions will become free because Cu2 plus is changed into Cu. So now who is getting increased in concentration? SO4 2 minus. Then they will also start concentrating around the cathode. So that will also prevent the flow of incoming electrons. So this will lead to a serious problem because electrons are not in a position to leave the anode or to be accepted by the cathode. Then when there is no flow of electron, then there won't be any current. So to prevent this problem, salt bridge is used. I told you in salt bridge we use the electrolyte KCl or KNO3. If, for example, if you are using the electrolyte KCl, it will neutralize the extra positive charge here, the Zn 2 plus ions, by migrating Cl minus ions to this half cell. We have KCl inside. The Cl minus will migrate here to neutralize Zn 2 plus. Same way K plus will migrate here to neutralize SO4 2 minus. So this will make the electrolytes to remain electrically neutral. And remember, they will not react, these electrolyte in the salt bridge will not react with any of this solution. They are just neutralizing the positive and the negative charge, and that's the main purpose of using a salt bridge. So this is the salt bridge, which is represented by a double line. Now here what happens, Zn is converted into Zn 2 plus. So you have to represent it as Zn solid, a single line, Zn 2 plus, write the concentration in the bracket, aqueous. Here what happens, Cu2 plus is converted into Cu. So Cu2 plus, the concentration is 1 molar, which is aqueous, and put one line Cu solid. So this is oxidation half reaction, this is reduction half reaction, which means this is taking place at anode and this is taking place at cathode. So now Zn slash Zn 2 plus, just write this as such here and put the double line which represents the salt bridge, then write this. So this is the cell representation of this electrochemical cell. So remember, just now I told you here electrons will be accumulated on the electrode, here the ions will be accumulating on the electrode. So these electrodes will acquire either positive or negative charge with respect to the solution. So this leads to a potential difference between the metal electrode and its ions in the solution. This potential difference between this metal electrode and the ion in the solution is called as electrode potential. Electrode potential, it is defined as the potential difference between the electrode and its ions in solution. It can also be regarded as the tendency of the electrode to lose or gain electrons when it is in contact with the solution of its own ions. When the zinc electrode is in contact with the Zn2+ ions in zinc sulfate solution, and when copper electrode is in contact with the Cu2+ ions in copper sulfate solution, then zinc has a tendency to lose electron and copper has a tendency to gain electron. So the electrode potential value can be regarded as the tendency of the electrode to lose or gain electrons when it is in contact with the solution of its own ions. So this electrode potential, it is called as standard electrode potential only when the electrode potential is measured under standard conditions of temperature, which is 298 Kelvin, and for 1 molar concentration of the ions in solution. And then this standard electrode potential is represented as E0. So electrode potential is nothing but it is a tendency of the electrode to lose or gain electrons. And when do you call this electrode potential as standard electrode potential? When you measure this electrode potential under standard conditions of temperature and for 1 molar concentration solution, and then that standard electrode potential is represented as E0. Now let's see the types of electrode potential. When we saw the setup of electrochemical cell, I said one side is oxidation half cell, the other side is reduction half cell. So there will be two electrode potentials. One will be oxidation potential, the other will be reduction potential. So the oxidation potential, it is the tendency of the electrode to lose electrons, which means the tendency of the electrode to undergo oxidation. So that potential is called as oxidation potential. And the second one is reduction potential. It is the tendency of the electrode to accept electrons, which means to undergo reduction. So in the electrochemical apparatus, zinc has the tendency to undergo oxidation, because when we made that setup, we didn't do any external energy or any force. Spontaneously zinc lost electron and that electrons were taken up by copper. So the reverse did not happen. Copper did not lose electrons and zinc did not take electrons. So who has got more tendency to lose electron? Zinc. And same way copper has more tendency to accept electrons. So that tendency to lose electron is oxidation potential and the tendency to gain electron is reduction potential. See, for example, standard reduction potentials of copper is plus 0.34 volt. Same way standard oxidation potential of copper is minus 0.34 volt. Okay, so both have the same value but the sign is different. Reduction potential, if it is plus, oxidation potential will be negative. If oxidation potential is positive, then reduction potential will be negative. So nowadays, according to the latest IUPAC conventions, the half cell reactions in an electrochemical cells are written in terms of electron accepting tendency. So all the electrode potentials are generally expressed as reduction potentials or standard reduction potentials. We don't use the term oxidation potential, we use only reduction potential because all the cell reactions are written in terms of electron accepting tendency. I have written a value here. For copper, the standard reduction potential is plus 0.34 volt. So how that value is measured? So that's what we are going to see, how to measure this standard electrode potential for a half cell reaction. When we saw the arrangement of the electrochemical cell using zinc and copper, we said we are converting chemical energy into electrical energy, which means you're getting some electrical energy from that cell. So the quantity of that electrical energy is 1.1 volt. What is that 1.1 volt? It is the EMF of the cell, which we call it as electromotive force, that gives you the difference between the oxidation oxidation potential and the reduction potential. So actually there is a potential difference for oxidation half cell reaction and reduction half cell reaction. That difference is measured as voltage 1.1 volt. So now we want to know what is the electrode potential of each cell, but that is not easy to measure because we are talking about redox reactions. When we say redox reactions, they will happen simultaneously. When oxidation is happening, reduction will also occur. So when we have two apparatus, like two beakers, like one with zinc sulfate solution, the other with copper sulfate solution, when you connect that, both will be undergoing oxidation and reduction reaction. So to measure the individual half cell potential, we are going to use a reference electrode which is called as SHE, standard hydrogen electrode. So this is the standard hydrogen electrode. It has a platinum wire coated with finely divided platinum, which is called as platinum black, and it is sealed in a glass tube. And then the wire is dipped in an aqueous solution containing 1 molar H plus ion, which is usually 1 molar HCl solution, and pure hydrogen gas under a pressure of 1 bar is constantly bubbled through the solution. See, through which this is the inlet through which hydrogen gas is passed. The temperature of the solution is maintained at 298 Kelvin. So this is the standard hydrogen electrode apparatus. The main thing about SHE, which means the standard hydrogen electrode, it can act both as anode and also as cathode. Now see, when this cell acts as anode, this is the reaction happening, because at anode what happens? Oxidation happens. See, hydrogen gas 2H plus 2 electrons, it is losing electrons. When this standard hydrogen electrode is acting as a cathode, this is what happens, the reverse reaction. 2H plus 2 electrons gives H2. So standard hydrogen electrode can act both as anode and also as cathode. As I told you already, the standard electrode potential. What is standard electrode potential? The electron releasing or electron accepting tendency of one electrode in contact with its electrolyte in a half cell cannot be measured experimentally. Why? Because a half cell, whether oxidation or reduction half cell, cannot work of its own and can work only when it is connected with other half cell. The electron releasing or accepting tendency of an electrode is only relative tendency and not absolute tendency. So when to measure that electrode potential, we are going to use this standard hydrogen electrode. And remember, the standard electrode potential of this SHE is taken to be 0. So now what we are going to do, we are going to take either zinc electrode in contact with its solution or copper electrode with contact with its solution and connect them with SHE. Either zinc with SHE or copper with SHE, and then measure their electrode potential. So now I'll show you how to do that. So now let's see how to measure standard electrode potential E0 using standard hydrogen electrode. Now we are going to set up an electrochemical cell just like we did with zinc and copper. We are going to use SHE. Now I'm going to take one metal electrode, connect it with SHE through a voltmeter, and imagine all the salt bridge, all the setup as such. So metal electrode and SHE. Now see, if the voltmeter deflection is towards the metal electrode, then flow of electrons is towards SHE. I told you the flow of current will be in the opposite direction of the flow of electrons. So when the deflection is towards the metal electrode, then the flow of electrons is towards SHE. So which means electron is flowing from metal electrode to SHE. So from metal electrode means this metal electrode is acting as anode and standard hydrogen electrode is acting as cathode. Just now I told you standard hydrogen electrode can act both as cathode and anode. So from the voltmeter deflection, we are finding out which is acting as anode and which is acting as cathode. Now the second condition, when the voltmeter deflection is towards SHE, then what is the flow of electron? It is from She to metal electrode. So She is acting as anode and metal electrode is acting as cathode. Now there is a formula to find out standard electrode potential of the cell, which is E naught cell. E naught cell is equal to E naught cathode minus E naught anode. You have to subtract the electrode potential of cathode minus electrode potential of the anode. And remember, when you're having this setup, the electrode potential of hydrogen electrode is 0 and the value that you are getting here will be of the metal electrode. Now I'll show you how to do that calculation. So the first one, where the metal electrode is acting as anode and She is acting as cathode. So when among zinc and copper, zinc will be acting as anode when it is connected with the standard hydrogen electrode. So the metal electrode is zinc, so this side it is standard hydrogen electrode. I told you E naught cell is equal to E naught cathode minus E naught anode. What is E naught cathode? 0. We are taking the E naught cell of standard hydrogen electrode to be 0 minus this is the value that you get in the voltmeter. So metal electrode for zinc, the electrode potential is 0.76. So 0 minus 0.76 is equal to minus 0.76 volt. So this is the standard reduction potential of zinc. Same way, if the voltmeter deflection is towards standard hydrogen electrode, I told you, then standard hydrogen electrode is acting as anode, second condition, and She is acting as, metal electrode is acting as cathode. So if it is copper, when it is connected to She, copper will be acting as what? Cathode, anode will be She. So again apply the formula. E naught cell is equal to E naught cathode minus E naught anode, and E naught cathode, the value you will get from the voltmeter 0.34 minus what is E naught cathode? E naught cathode is She's electrode potential, which is taken to be 0. 0.34 minus 0 will be equal to plus 0.34. So the standard reduction potential of copper is 0.34. So this is how you have to represent E naught Zn 2 plus bar Zn is equal to minus 0.76 volt, and E naught Cu 2 plus bar Cu is equal to plus 0.34 volt. Now look here, when you are connecting the metal electrode with She and measuring the E naught value, then that represents standard reduction potential. Now see, there when we measured for zinc, it was minus 0.76. Standard reduction potential of zinc. We are talking about reduction, so you have to write it Zn 2 plus slash Zn. If it is Zn 2 plus, then that is oxidation potential. So the value is minus 0.76 volt. Now see, the standard oxidation potential of zinc will be, see how it is represented, Zn 2 plus aqueous, which will be equal to plus 0.76 volt. So remember, in all the calculations we will be using standard reduction potential. So when the value is given, look for this representation. If it is represented this way, then you have to change the symbol to minus and then you have to apply. If it is represented this way and the value is given, you can use it as such in the calculation because it is the reduction potential. Same way, come here, this is standard reduction potential of copper. Look here, Cu2 plus is reduced to copper. The value that we measured using She is 0.34 volt. If standard oxidation potential of copper is given, then it will be represented as Cu slash Cu2 plus aqueous, then the value will be minus 0.34 volt. So whenever this E naught value is given in the question, check whether it is oxidation or reduction potential. If the oxidation potential is given, then change the symbol and then apply it in the problems. In the next video, we will see a few problems based on this concepts. Thank you.